process doesn't help you to set goals, find direction, find inspiration, well, I don't know what will. For the last 10 years, this is something that Katie and I do every 6 to 9 months to help us create direction and create movement. And I don't care whether you want to build a business, you feel a bit lost in your career, or you're working on what to do in financial independence. This will help you come up with ideas.
And before we get into this, a few words of warning. So when you're setting a goal, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your life as it is now. I'm sure you have a perfectly wonderful life, and you can also, at the same time as having that wonderful life, be working towards something. You can have both. You can have a great life now and be working towards something as well. The other thing that people do is they put off their happiness until they've achieved the goal. Please don't do that. You are allowed to be happy along the way with the awesome life you already have, and you can happily enjoy the journey towards achieving that goal.
What's actually really interesting is there's plenty of studies that have shown people who are happy on the journey actually become more successful over the long run. It's really fascinating. So people who defer happiness till the end, like, do you want to work with someone who's not happy until they have their goal? Or would you rather work with someone who's happy along the way? I know who I'd rather work with. So do not defer your happiness, your pleasure. Find joy in the journey, the progress, and what is happening.
I've got a secret for you as well. You don't have the goal in order to achieve it. The point is not necessarily to even achieve the goal, it's to set a direction. And maybe as you start down that path, you'll figure out, actually, maybe it's something different that I want. But it's in the act of starting that you discover that.
And that's actually why Katie and I do this process every 6 to 9 months, because you lose direction. You maybe even, you set a goal and then you start down the road towards it and you go, no, that's not the one for me. And you decide to do something completely different, and that is okay. So it's not a one and done. You're not committing to a goal for the rest of your life. Just pick something in the short term that will get you going. And we'll come on to how to do that. But our purpose for today's session is to help you consciously choose the direction for your world for the next 6 months, a year. Actually come up with a plan and a direction that inspires you, gets you excited, full of energy, and wanting to go out there and do it.
So we're going to take you step by step through the process, and we're going to tell you to pause the video every so often to go off and do the exercises. And it's probably going to take you about an hour. The video won't be a whole hour because we'll send you off and do stuff, but that's how it's going to work. So we'll say pause now. You will pause, and then you'll go off and do it, and then we'll come back and give you the next step.
So step 1 is to write 5 things you are proud of. And you might be going, why do I write what I'm proud of, Alan? That seems a bit weird. Well, it's to put yourself in the right space. I don't care how big they are, how small they are. I am proud of my partner. I'm proud of my life. I'm proud of this. I'm proud of the job I do. I'm proud of the fact I can tie up my shoelaces. It doesn't really matter what it is. The idea is to get yourself in a state where you already know you have been successful, because the state we do this exercise in changes everything. If you're in a bad state, you're going to find it very hard to come up with your ideas. If you're in a good state, if you can get yourself in a state where you're like, I'm doing well, I've got energy, I'm excited, you will come up with so many more ideas.
So hit pause now and write down those 5 things that you're proud of. Pause.
Did you hit pause? If you're still watching, hit pause.
Go away.
Okay. Hopefully you've come back. You should have actually done that, but do write this down. Nothing works unless you work it. So do the homework. That's how you get somewhere.
So the second step is to come up with, this is the meat of it, 50 or more, 50, and I'll explain why, goals, ideas, things you want to do, things you want to try. And why so many? Well, I'm sure when you've done things like this before, you've come up with the same kind of 10 standard things that come up. By coming up with 50 or more, you're forced to get through those ones that you've always had, and then to be more creative and imaginative, to think of other things that you could and would do.
For example, lots of people say, in retirement, I'm going to do the garden, I'll learn a language, I'll read more books. Those ones are easy, but to stretch yourself to find your version, of extraordinary, the thing that really lights you up and makes you want to go for the future, you need to go past the same old stuff you've been telling yourself. Because if you really wanted to do those, you don't need to wait retirement. You could do them at any point, and that's not going to make you happy long term. You need to stretch past this.
And if you're already inspired and ready to go, please jot them down as we're chatting. We're going to give you ideas and prompts and things as you go. So please start writing now if you are so inspired. If not, and you want a bit more explanation, please
keep listening. So the first point is, doesn't have to be a worthy goal. Lots of people are like, goals should be big and worthy and this. I don't care what it is. You want a new iPhone, you want a new fancy pen. I don't care what it is. You want dinner with your kids, you want to go to X restaurant. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be worthy. And where did we come up with this idea? I was running a workshop for a bunch of financially independent people about goal setting. And this lady stopped me and she said, I don't want a goal. All I want is a new dining room table and dinner with my kids every night. And I'm sure you probably thought the same thing as me. A new dining room table is a goal. That is something you want in the future and you're thinking about getting. She did have a goal, but she was judging it that it wasn't an extraordinary goal. And here's the bit, an extraordinary thing means something to everyone different around the world. And this lady, I looked at her and I said, well, a table is a goal and it is a worthy goal. Like having dinner with your kids every night. How many families sit in front of the television with an iPad and an iPhone and don't even talk to each other? That is an incredible goal that you want to build that family environment. So never judge your own goals. Never.
And they can be fun and they can be frivolous. It might be go out for dinner to this restaurant that I've been wanting to try with my friends. It could be go for a walk in the park. It's just all getting these ideas out. They can be small, they can be large, there can be steps along the way to a larger goal. Maybe you're on the path to financial independence. You can put on there, my goal is to reach financial independence, but then maybe having some targets along the way. Get 10% of the way there, get 20% of the way there. And just having that range, it can be big, it can be small, and it's all about the volume of the ideas as they come to you. Do not judge them, do not censor yourself, do not think, how on earth would I even go about achieving this? No, get them out as quickly as you can. Just like as they come to you, put them down on the page, and probably best done with pen and paper. Actually, like you can do this electronically, typing or on your phone, but it feels so much more real and visceral if you use a pen and paper.
Now, we need to highlight some of the ways this process can go wrong to help you avoid it. It went wrong for Katie and I whilst we were in Brazil. We started to do the exercise. Katie became quickly overwhelmed and she had this thought of she had to do everything she was writing down.
I thought I had to do them all because it's like, but actually I kind of wanted to do them all because these were cool ideas, as well. And so I was like, oh, well, I can't do any of these because I don't have time because I haven't even done the ones we came up with last time. So you don't have to do any of them. You certainly don't have to do all of them. And you have the rest of your life. This is some that you're going to choose, and we'll show you the filtering process to choose which ones you're actually going to do. But this is just like a menu and excitement. You don't, when you go to a restaurant, try and eat everything on the menu. Well, sometimes maybe you do, Alan, but that's not what you normally do, is it? It's like, oh, I fancy this one today. I fancy this one at this period of my life. You have plenty of time to get to the other ones, and they might not even appeal to you later down the line as well.
So this is a menu of options that you will then pick from, and then if you experiment with those ideas, you can always come back and pick the second and third and fourth idea to have a go with later. Now, one of the things that helps us when we're doing this is the questions. So who, what, where, and when. Who would you like to meet? Who are you going to do with this? Who are the people you want to hang out? What do you want to do? What do you want to buy? What is it that excites you? Where do you want to go? When do you want to do it? Those first operator words, the who, what, where, when, can lead to a treasure trove of ideas.
The other thing you could do is think about different life areas. So what goals might you have in your health and wellness? What goals might you have with your career or your mission or your volunteer work? What goals do you have in fun and adventure and passion? What goals do you have in relationships with your significant other, with your friends, with your family? What other areas have I forgotten, Anna?
There's so many of them. But those ideas, if you focus on them and you go, health, what are my health goals? What are my health goals? Do I want to be able to lift up my grandkids? Do I want to be able to go running? Do I want to go on a fitness retreat? That was one of Katie's health goals this year. Do I want a certain level of body fat? I'm not talking about increasing it. Do you want to put on muscle as you get older? Like, what actually are those health goals? And if you think through each area slowly, it will bring you inspiration. And actually, what we're hoping is as you listen to us, some of the ideas will come to you. So, Katie, what were some of your ideas in health? What were some of your goals in health?
I wanted to be able to do a chin up. I want to be able to do a handstand. That's one I'm working on now. Being able to do a human flag, where you like hold yourself out horizontally. That was one of the other goals. You might have things like being able to do a certain number of push-ups or press-ups, or being, sort of those performance types goals, as well as maybe it's how much energy you feel in your body. You want to jump out of bed feeling alive and excited to get on with the day. Those are some things that you might have in health. Or you could have things, if you have a certain hobby or a sport that you play, maybe you want to take it to the next level. Or maybe you want to play that sport with different people and add a different kind of fun and energy to it.
Or the goal might be you don't even want to take it to the next level. You just want to play 3 times a week. That's my goal. I just want to have fun and play 3 times a week. Doesn't really matter what it is. What it matters is, does it light you up and give you juice and energy?
And as you write it down, you think, actually, this doesn't light me up. That's fine. Just get on to the next one and keep that flow going. And hopefully, as we're speaking, this is giving you lots of ideas for yourself in your life as well. And if it's not, there are plenty of other spaces for inspiration as well. You are allowed to copy other people's ideas. This isn't school where you have to keep your eyes on your own paper. You can look online. We always look at bucket list ideas. There's so many cool ideas for travel and things you can do in different countries. Like, do you want to learn to scuba dive? And grouping together learning and travel is so cool as well. Do you want to go and learn Portuguese in Brazil? Do you want to go and learn to tango in Argentina? Those sorts of ideas where it's learning something in a different environment as well can get very exciting as well.
And if anything we've said lights you up, copy it. One of the ideas we had for a long time is to learn to make pizza in Italy. I love making pizza. I would love to go to a proper Italian restaurant, learn how to make the dough from scratch. That's one of my ideas. So learning is a fantastic zone. We have conferences we want to go to. We're at the Economy conference right now. We're doing this for you. And we want to go to retreats, conferences. We want to learn. There are so many cool things. And then you get some magic from mixing sections as well. So we'll talk about that. Fun, adventure, and play is one of the areas we talk about, because you need to have some fun in your life. Like, why so serious? Let's have a little bit more fun. What are some of your fun, adventure, and play goals?
I want to go to Disney World and to have dinner with the princesses in the castle. I want to have a weekend away with my friends to celebrate my birthday. What else, Alan?
I want to go to Egypt. I definitely want to see the pyramids. I would love to go and see Dracula's castle. I'm not actually into horror movies, but for some reason I want to go and see Dracula's castle in Romania.
I want to organise a dinner party with my friends where they all come round and then we rotate who's hosting. And there's a show in the UK called Come Dine With Me, and you all can kind of rate each other on how they did with entertaining and the food and the atmosphere, and just having fun with things like that, and pulling your friends together and having something fun to do.
One of the things I've wanted to do for a long time, I love running events. I love helping people. And I've always had this idea of let's run an event in Vegas. Because I think, like, where else would you want to run a dream event? So this year, that was one of my goals. So I contacted a friend. We said, let's run an event in Vegas. We booked the time there. We sold out the tickets. You are limited only by your imagination. So what you need to do is get out of your own way and start to dream about, what do I really want to do? Like, wouldn't it be amazing to be talking to 15 people, to running this event, to helping these people, to learning this? There's so many ways to do it.
And you can have material goals as well. Maybe you want a new, really nice laptop that you can work on. Maybe you want a really nice new phone. Maybe you want to have some really nice furniture in one of the rooms of your house. Maybe there's rooms in your house that you could do with completely redoing. Maybe it's something around the house. Maybe it's something, a project that you have that you've been putting off, or that you actually have really got energy for and thought, well, I can't do that until I've dealt with A, B, C, D. Nothing is off limits here. Dream big and think, oh, what else could I do? What would be my ideal house, or where I live, or my environment and the things around me?
Now, one of the things that can kill this is your own brain. Yes, it's your fault. People's brains get weird. They come up with a goal. So you come up with a goal. I'm going to run an event in Vegas. And then you go, how would I do that? I don't know if I could do that. And then you don't write it down. Like, we need to stop that part of the brain from hijacking this process. I don't care how, we'll figure it out later. If you have a strong enough why, a reason to do it, a raison d'etre, I was going to say, a reason, I did. A strong why, any how will be overcome. So you do not need to know how, you just need to go, I've always dreamed of X. And the other bit is that voice that comes up and says, you'll never do that, or whatever crap it says to you. When it does, I want you to celebrate, because you've just found a limiting belief. And if we find and uncover those limiting beliefs as we do this, then we can smash them, take them out, and get back on with creating our version of extraordinary. And that's what you need to do. So let's have an example of that. Think of a big goal right now. Maybe it's something you've thought about for a while. Maybe it's something you've just written on the list. Think of something you've always dreamed to do, but you've always stopped yourself. When you think of that goal, what comes to mind? Is it a thought of, no, you can't do that, or this isn't possible, or I'm not ready? What comes to mind? Because that is the belief that we need to tackle to actually free you to get on with doing what you want to do.
So when that belief comes up, or that little voice comes up, how do we get rid of it? What do we do with it?
Well, A, tell it to off. You don't need that. B, actually just pause for a moment and maybe write down, oh, I was going to write this, but I stopped. Why? And then write down, I stopped because I don't believe I can do it, because I don't have the money, whatever the reason is. Then let's examine that. But we don't really want to break the flow of coming up with ideas. But we do want to notice, don't judge it. Just do it. Just write them down, come up with the ideas. We can work out the how later. The how is irrelevant at this point. What we're doing is generating ideas, things that you can really get inspired about.
So I think we've given you enough prompts. We're going to send you off now. Keep writing that list of ideas. Press pause now if you haven't got that full list. If you have, continue with us now.
Have you left?
Are you doing your homework?
Welcome back. So the next section, you should have a giant list of ideas. If you don't, go away and do the homework, please, because this is how you come up with the best ideas. What's the quickest way to come up with a good idea? To have a lot of ideas, because most of your ideas won't be that good. Some of my ideas are dreadful.
Really?
Yes. Let's not go there. You have to come up with a volume and then choose for them. Basically, the universities would say it's divergent and convergent thinking, which is just a fancy way of come up with lots of ideas and then choose the ones you're going to go through. That's how you do it. people try and skip that process and they go, let me just come up with my one goal instantly and that's what I'll do. That never works. So you should be doing the idea collection and getting as many ideas as possible. Then we're going to do some evaluating and work out which ones to actually do. So step 1, 5 things you're proud of.
Yeah. And then step 2, you should have by now your long list of goals, at least 50. At least 50. And then the next step is to go and put a time frame against each of them. So on step number 3, put a time frame against when you want to do each of these goals. So we're going to look at either 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. So just go down the page against your goals and just put that number against them. Do you want it to be done in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
And you just get a feeling. You'll look at it. One of your goals might be financial independence, and you go, it's going to take a while. Maybe that's a 5-year goal. This year, this goal, take the family to New York for a trip, take the family to wherever. That's a 1-year goal. I really want to find out how I can make that happen. Just have fun. There's no correct answer. There's no wrong answer. This is not a test. Just put a number that feels right to you for that goal.
So hit pause now and go and do that.
Welcome back. Now, this comes the challenging bit, but it's actually a really enjoyable bit. Step 4 is pick your top 4 1-year goals. Your top 4 1-year goals. And you might be thinking, how do I do that? I've got like 60 I want to do. I've got 70 I want to do. Last time I did this exercise, I had 119 different ideas. And I'm going, how do I even choose? Katie, help me.
Well, there's various different frames you could use. You could choose one that's like, it's just for me. This is something I've always wanted to do. It's just for me. Or maybe it's a quick win. Or maybe it's a moonshot, meaning it feels like way out there. Or a wild card, something completely random that you've never even considered before.
Now, on the it's just for me, I actually think it's important to have at least one of those top 4 is just for you, because people quite often pick the goals for other people, the worthy goals, the career goals, but they don't pick the ones that actually light them up. One of these should be just for you. So it's fine to have, I want to be promoted at work, I want to earn 100 grand a year, like whatever that is. But please make sure you also have the completely selfish one. I want a 4 hands massage while I'm in Bali in Thailand or wherever it is. I want to, I want the Lego Avengers Tower. That is not for anyone else. That is for me. I want the Lego Avengers Tower. Please make sure you have something for you, because that's what lights you up. That's what's going to keep you going. So don't just pick the serious, the worthy goals. Pick the stuff that really, really lights you up. And those frames can be super useful. But as you go through, you'll start to go, yeah, that's the one that really lights a fire inside of me, makes my heart get going.
And if you're not sure, there are no right answers. Just pick something and start, and you will soon find out whether you want to switch and do something else. This is just a starting point. We're not committing you to these for the rest of your life. This is just like, it doesn't matter which ones you choose, just choose something, because you could get stuck at this stage. And that's happened to me a lot of like, I want to do them all, as we said earlier. Just pick. It doesn't really matter. We can figure it out as we go.
So stop this now, pause, and pick your top 4 right away.
Are you back?
Hopefully you're back. If you're back, we will move on to step 5, which is for each of the 4 goals you have now chosen to write a paragraph of why. Why do you want that goal? Now, the reason for this is with a big enough why, any how is achievable. You just need motivation. And some of the most incredible things I've achieved in my life have been because I knew why I was doing it, and I was so motivated, nothing would stop me.
And it has to be juicy. Your why has to be super juicy. Let me give you an example. One of my goals a couple of years ago was that I wanted to be able to do a chin-up. I had very little upper body strength. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So my why, I used very emotive language. It's like, I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I really want to show and prove to myself and to everyone around me that this is something that I can do, and that when I will do it and I can feel so strong as I train, and I love training, and it makes me feel so excited, and it can help me to feel so much better in my other areas of my life because I'll be more confident, I'll look good, I'll start to have muscle tone. Can you see how you start to put the passion in it and start to like get that juiciness? And if it doesn't, if you don't feel excited about the goal at this stage, you need to amp up that juice. You need to think about how it will improve different areas of your life. How's it going to improve your relationships if you do this? How's it going to improve your finances? How's it going to improve the way that you feel about yourself and your confidence? You have to make it juicy, Alan.
Yes, juicy Alan. I had a friend who always used to say, yeah, that just doesn't excite me. And it finally dawned on me that it's actually not the thing's job to excite you. It's your job to get excited to do the thing. So you have to find your own motivation. You can get excited to do anything. You have to find that within you. And if you can find your excitement, your reason, your why, when it gets tough, because pretty much any goal gets tough at a certain point, even building the Lego Avengers Tower.
Even the four hands massage?
That's probably less tough. There'll become a point where you're like, ow, that hurts. But you have to keep moving. You need to find your motivation. The four hands massage in Bali, you'll have to find the motivation to earn the money to be able to go and do it. You need to have a strong why, and it's not its job to get you excited. It's your job to get excited about the goal, and that will change everything.
So please go away now, press pause, and for each of those 4 goals that you have chosen, write a short paragraph as to why and make it juicy. Hit pause now.
Welcome back. If you haven't got 4 whys, then pause, because without a why, you're never going to follow through and do it. You need to know the motivation. The next step is actually one of my favorite, and it is a fascinating question. So step 6 is for each of your 4 goals to ask the question, who do I have to become to achieve this? And that is a really interesting question. Who do I have to become? Because sometimes the goal itself, like making £1 million, becoming financially independent, whatever it is, like, don't do it for the £1 million. Do it for who you have to become on the journey to it. So let's say your goal is to become a podcaster. Who do I have to become? Well, I have to become a good communicator. I have to become someone who's good at podcasting, learn the technology, whatever it is. Then you can learn those skills, and that learning unlocks the progress and the movement. It also helps you to feel good.
Yeah, because it could be things like I have to be someone that's determined and creative and curious. And then you get to be proud of who you are as well as the goal that you achieved. And that's the really cool bit.
Yes. Who do you have to become to be financially independent? I have to become good with money. I have to become good with investing. There's all these skills you have to learn that make your life richer, and the process of doing that is phenomenal. So the question is, who do I have to become? Then we can start to learn those skills. You have so many free resources. There are incredible podcasts to listen to, Choose FI. There are blogs to read like the Mr. Money Mustache. There are incredible resources that are there for you for free. Just identify who do you have to become and start learning. So please pause this right now and do that. Who do you have to become to achieve these goals? Okay, hopefully you've done that. Welcome back. We're on to the next step, Katie, which is...
The next step is to take action. So for each of the 4 goals that you've written down, so now you've had your 4 goals, and a big paragraph as to why, your juicy why, and you've got who you have to become. Now is the time to take action. And now is the most important time to build on that energy that you've got around this. And just the smallest next step, whether it be, I need to ring someone to book an appointment. I need to Google something to see how it works. I need to think of another example of what they need to do next, Alan.
It is normally internet research, Googling, buy a book to learn about the subject. There are so many different things. The key thing we want you to get is never, never, never leave the scene of a decision without taking some action towards making it happen. So if you've decided you want to go to Bali for a 4-hands massage, then start looking up flights. If you've decided you want to launch a podcast, Google, how do I launch a podcast? Ring someone you know that has a podcast, volunteer for someone who has take action.
And if you're not sure what that action is, maybe your action is to ask someone that has already done it, and they can guide you and say, well, your first step would be to do X, whatever it is. So ask for help as well. That could be your first action. Ring Steve. He's done this before. I know who like to ask for advice and help and coaching.
Now, if you're still with us, please pause that and start taking your first action towards your 4 goals. Now, go away,
take action,
and then come back. We've got a couple more bits for you to give you about how this actually works and how we can really make progress to those goals and make it real. We need to make it real. And actually, the art of taking an idea and bringing it into the physical realm is a phenomenal skill. It's a rare one. It is possible, and you need to develop that ability if you want to create your version of extraordinary.
So the next step number 8, is something that athletes do all the time. They will, as part of their training, they will visualize them winning the race, winning the gold medal, making that shot, throwing the ball. I don't know what it is, but they will imagine and visualize vividly it already happening. And that's what we want you to do with each of the goals that you've come up with. Spend 5 minutes a day, close your eyes, imagine it's already happening, see what you would see, hear what you would hear, and be in that moment. And it's like you're rehearsing your brain ready to have it already, and your brain will start to look for ways to make it happen as well.
And you might be thinking, Donigans, this is a bit woo-woo. What are you telling me? Is this some kind of secret stuff? Visualize it and then everything I want turns up? No. When you visualize it, 2 things will happen. Number 1, you'll feel good and excited about the goal. That's fantastic because it'll give you energy and motivation. It keeps it alive in your brain and keeps you going. And number 2, quite often what happens to me is like, I should do this. I need to ring them, do this. And the next step for the goal becomes clear during the visualization. Then you can take it. And I tell you what, if you start taking action every single day, it is phenomenal how that compounds into progress.
It's so exciting.
It is so exciting.
Even if even just the first point that it makes you feel good, like it's 5 minutes and you feel good and you feel like you can do these things, and it just sets you up for the day as well.
Now, the final piece to this, step 9, is the weekly check-in. And what Katie and I like to do for every one of our big goals is we have what we call a project list. It has the goal project, same thing. It's something you want to achieve. Then we have our notes about it, and then we have a next action. And every week we check in, how are we doing on these goals? How is it going? Where have we got to? What do we need to do next? And that energy and that focus on a weekly basis towards it will help move you forward faster than you could imagine.
You can do it by yourself, you can do it with a partner, with your whole family, with your friends, whoever, it doesn't really matter. It's just that you're doing that regular check-in to keep them moving forwards, because you're better off with small, consistent actions than having a burst of energy and then doing nothing with it for 6 months and going, didn't I have that goal that I was supposed to be doing? Oh yeah, I remember that.
So taking action every week, progressing on, and then checking in, going, where am I? Did the person reply? What happened? That's how you stay on track, because nothing is going to happen unless you make it happen. The extraordinary belongs to those that create it. You no one's going to come around and hand you an extraordinary life. They're not going to hand you your goals. Oh, here you go. You dreamt of this. Well done. You have to take action. It is up to you, and that's what we want to say. So the whole purpose of this mini workshop about goal setting is to help you take control of your future.
So if you haven't done any of those actions, the steps in the process that we've gone through, go back, do them now, and you can watch this video whenever you want to refresh the goals, to come up with that new list every 6 months, every quarter, however often you want to do it.
So here's the process in full for you. Step 1, write down 5 things you are proud of.
Step 2, come up with at least 50 goals, ideas, things you want to do.
Step 3, write a time frame against each one of them. 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year. So you start to know how long it's going to take you.
Then pick your top 4 1-year goals. That's step number 4.
And for each of those 4 goals, step number 5 is to write why. We need a paragraph of why this is important to you. Why? Why do you want to do it?
Make it juicy. The next step, step number 6, is to write who you have to become to achieve that goal.
Step 7, never leave the scene of decision to do something without taking action. So your job is to take immediate action. Ring someone, email, get on with it.
Step 8, visualize the goal as having already happened, and do that for 5 minutes every single day.
Step 9, have a weekly check-in with a friend, with your partner, with someone else. Doesn't really matter who with, but weekly check-in. How are we doing? How's it going? And what is the next action? And that magic formula, you will be incredibly amazed by what you can achieve if you follow that formula. So thank you for listening to us. Thank you for coming on the channel. Please write in the comments what you're doing. Tell us one of your goals. If it's explicit, whatever, doesn't matter. Just tell us one of your goals. We just want to know. And please hit like. And if you've enjoyed this video, hit subscribe and you'll get notified of our upcoming videos. We just want you to take action and to create your version of extraordinary, because we've been doing this for years and the results are unbelievable. So thank you for listening. Goodbye.